just completed. We've got another bureaucrat coming up. We have, it's again one of our great pleasure to have the Commissioner of the Mumbai Metropolitan Region, the MMRDA, Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee. Dr. Sanjay Mukherjee, thanks so much for your presence today. A highly accomplished bureaucrat, Mr. Mukherjee has won accolades for the pivotal role in the multiple mega infrastructure project currently running in the MMRDA region. Dr. Mukherjee is widely credited with playing a critical role in envisioning and execution of the iconic Mumbai Trans harbour bridge, which I'm sure all of us have seen in the recent past, and also the multiple Mumbai metro lines, the under construction Navi Mumbai International Airport, and of course many other such infrastructure projects.
Introduction तो सर के लिए बहुत अच्छा सूरज ने दिया, but सर की कुछ खूबियां भी हैं, क्वालिटीज हैं जो बहुत कम लोग जानते हैं. सर अच्छे ब्यूरोक्रेट तो हैं, साथ में एक बहुत अच्छे सिंगर हैं. इसके लिए आप जब उनके किसी भी प्रोजेक्ट को देखते हैं या जो भी काम वो लेते हैं तो उसके अंदर एक लय होती है. एंड बिफोर आई से एनीथिंग आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट योगिनी इफ यू कैन जस्ट स्टार्ट द सेशन.
Thank you, Varun. And it's a great pleasure to have you here, Dr. Mukherjee. At the outset, a big congratulations for the rapid implementation of the Transa Link, which was a vision in the 1970s, but came to fruition in 2024. And it's a fantastic project. When you start driving from the Trans Harbour from the Mumbai side, you see the Mumbai skyline as you go about 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers in. You see the beautiful Vashi Nerul skyline. Can you share the transformative potentials of the Trans Harbour Bridge and the key role it will play in the development of Mumbai and MMR region?
Firstly, thank you, Swarajya. Thank you, Varun, and thank you, Yogini, for having me here and giving me this opportunity. So we are all talking about the Mumbai Trans Harbour Link, that is, more popularly called as the Atal Setu. And I think, that the name is also pretty apt because that bridge is now Atal, and it addresses Mumbai's biggest concern, and that concern is about land. If there is anything which Mumbai does not have, that is land, because most of the land is either in CRZ, or it is in mangroves, or it is in salt pans. So on the other hand, Mumbai has a historical background, and it is India's first financial capital. It continues to be India's financial capital, and as far as we can see it, we see that Mumbai will continue and shall continue as India's financial capital in the long term also. So given these realities, there is a requirement for Mumbai to expand, and the only way Mumbai could expand was vertically. Now, vertical expansion, if you take it from an urban development perspective, has certain issues. So you grant FSI. But in case you grant FSI, then how do you get the infrastructure? When I say infrastructure, then there is a need to have water, there is a need to have sewerage, there is a need to have, electricity. And more importantly, when everybody goes out in the morning, there is a need to have roads which will cater to the number of vehicles on the streets. And also there is a need of public transport. So therefore, the only way that Mumbai can perhaps grow and prosper is to integrate it with the metropolitan area. And in this metropolitan area integration, way back in 1970s, it was conceived that we would have the Navi Mumbai city. And that Navi Mumbai project was launched, and that was from Airoli to JNPT. We built 2 bridges. There was a bridge which was built that was from the Vashi Bridge, which we call as the Thane Creek Bridge. And there is a bridge across Airoli. So these were the 2 connects. But the bulk of the landmass is this side. And that was not connected. So in 1962, Wilbur Smith and Associates, there was a consulting firm, and they had done this study. And after that, there were committees appointed by the government which had decided that, there should be certain links. And among those links are the Mumbai Coastal Road, the Trans Harbour Link, the Goregaon Bulol Link Road, Thane Borivali, etc. And this link is doing the main thing of connectivity between these 2 land masses. So what it does is essentially it brings, Ulve next to Worli. That is what it does. And if you see the way that ramps are designed, so you can enter it from Shivdi, you can enter into it from BPT directly, you can enter it from Shivdi, you can enter it from the Eastern Freeway, and there is a connectivity which is being planned, that is from the Worli to the Shivdi. That thing should be completed by end of this year or March next year. So that's the next connectivity. So this essentially connects the entire southern part of Mumbai. add on to the Mumbai Coastal Road and add on to the Versova V Link, which should be completed in the next few years. Then it connects the suburbs also to this particular area and provides a very easy and seamless way to reach to the hinterland. Now, the time that it takes to cross the bridge is 22 minutes. But practically, when we travel at a speed of 100 kilometers an hour, then it is taking something like 14 to 15 minutes. That is actually what is happening, because there's a simple math. So when we do the calculation, we are always conservative. In the initial days when the bridge was planned, it was planned at 80 kilometers an hour. Now we have made it 100 kilometers an hour. So that is the design speed of the bridge. And therefore, it's just next door. And therefore, this huge area which is getting open. Now we are further connecting it to Pune. There are two coastal roads which are planned. One will connect it to Kharghar. The other will connect it to Ulve and to the Navi Mumbai International Airport and to the Palm Beach Road. So something which we badly missed was connectivity. And this is what it is doing. So I'm reminded, way back in the, in fact, even before the First World War, there was a chap who used to be the Chancellor of Germany. And his name was Otto von Bismarck. And he is known for his famous speech of blood and iron. But when we studied history, then we were always given an essay whether coal and iron was more important than blood and iron. So when they say coal and iron, it basically meant that at that time, the guy, he realized the importance of connectivity. And so he built a railway network, all around Germany. And that resulted in the unification of Germany, the industrialization of Germany. And then we see where Germany is today, even after having lost 2 world wars. Now, India is a country which doesn't fight and doesn't wage wars. What we lack always is connectivity. And this type of connectivity, we are connecting together a population of 3.25 crores. This is equal to the population of the entire Canadian nation. So I think nobody can predict the future, but one can guess and one can, talk about a trend. And I think the trend is pretty clear for all of us to see.
Thank you. You pretty much sort of answered my second question, but sort of continuing on that. So when can we look forward to the completion of the Swarajya Elevated Corridor, as well as the proposed CLY Corridor, which will lead to commuters coming into Mumbai under the Second International Airport and Mumbai Expressway easily?
So the corridor from CLY down to Padaspe, which will connect us to the Mumbai-Pune road, and that will enable us that seamless connectivity, is something which will start very recently, though we have chosen the contractor. And that should take another 2 to 2.5 years. Infra projects always take some time here and there, but 2 to 2.5 years. But I don't expect it to shoot its targets, because the land is in possession, the right of way is there, and all the things which normally stop any project from happening. So now I think people of Mumbai, having seen these things happen way from the 70s onwards, know exactly what happens. So those things are taken care of, and therefore that should happen in that part. As far as the Worli-Sivdi link, that Worli to Sivdi connector, that is supposed to be completed by the end of this year, or as I said, March next year. But the main challenge in that is that there are certain, old buildings which are coming in the way, and these buildings need to be rehabilitated and resettled. And our aim is to do it in a way whereby, everybody gains. It has to be a win-win thing. I think we need to have a policy that my victory cannot be at the cost of your loss. And if we take that as a policy, then in that case, we have to address the issues of these people and that is what MMRDA is today very much focused into doing. So we are trying to do that, and if we are, hopefully we will succeed in doing that. And if we are able to do that, and I think by the end of the year or March next year, we should be able to commission that bridge.
You've had a very successful running in different positions in Mumbai, and in your earlier this at CIDCO and at Navi Mumbai, the Navi Mumbai Airport took off. So again, a project which was sitting, getting pickled for a very long time, took off the minute you took charge at CIDCO. So that airport is set to be commissioned soon in about 12 to 18 months, I believe, or 12 months probably. And also another project was pickling for a long time was the MMRDA working on the gold line between two airports and the metro line within CIDCO. So can you give us some updates on the status of the gold line because that's part of your MMRDA, your current position?
Well, yeah, so as far as the gold line is concerned, so that is, we call it Metro Line number 8. And that is the connectivity between two airports. So we are looking at it like this. How do you connect the two airports? And connectivity between the two airports can actually be addressed if the Navi Mumbai Metro, is extended up to the airport. That is one. Then second is MMRDA extends line 2B up to Mandade. That is second. And third is there is a connectivity which happens between these two. So this is one way of connectivity which will pick up the maximum number of people, and it will also serve people at various stations that come in the way. So in that, line 2B of course is proceeding as it is. And when I was in CITCO, that time we took a board resolution, and we we decided that we would build that link between from Mandade. We will build a bridge across the creek, and we will connect it to the airport directly. And we'll also connect it from Bilapur. So two decisions have been taken. The consultant has been appointed. The DPR, in fact, is now complete, and it will come up. They would be taking a decision in that very soon. So that, when you invite the VCMD of CITCO, he will be officially be able to tell you that. So that, see, Navi Mumbai Airport is extremely crucial to this entire planning, because if you see, then there are two airports. And how do you, so whether it is the Goregaon-Mulund Link Road, whether it is the MTHL, all of them ultimately have to end there. So you have to create the maximum catchment for the Navi Mumbai Airport. And we would be requiring both the airports. It's not that we'll be doing away with the old airport and coming on with the new ones. That is one. Secondly, there is Metro Line 8, which is a airport-to-airport connectivity. Now, MMRDA has decided that it will be done on a public-private partnership basis. That is a decision which we have taken, and the matter is now with the government to give concurrence to that particular decision. And once that happens, then in that case, we will be coming out with the RFP and bids of that airport.
Sort of moving on from infra and drawing out, on some of your earlier experiences at CITCO, you were also instrumental in building low-cost housing for the low income in the quickest turnaround time. So 96 flats in 96 days. Can you share a little bit of those experiences of yours?
So actually, when I took over at CITCO, it was COVID. And I always talk fondly about it, because the organization was like MMRDA today is, and hopefully we'll get out of that. So that time the organization was in a bit of a financial loss. It was not making, many of you know about it. And I thought, how do you, come out with it? So one of the ways getting out with it, you do certain things which everybody does. But I thought, why don't we have a system of challenges, and then let's throw challenges at everybody. So there's a challenge at one guy, ki tu mere ko 5,000 crore kahan se utha ke layega. There's a challenge to another guy, ki ye airport mein ye wala vishay hai, to isko aap kaise solve karoge? So one of the challenges was this. So there was a in COVID, in the first phase, the migrant labor went off. I don't know if anybody is there from Larsen and Toubro. So they were the contractors who did it. Yeah. So they would be aware of it. So I threw a challenge to them, ki you should do something to create a world record. And they really responded. And they took 6 months to plan along with our engineers. And they prepared a beautiful plan of doing 96 flats to be made in 96 days. And thereby beat a Chinese record of the fastest building in the world. And now I think we can happily say that India, so that is CITCO and Larsen and Toubro, we together did this thing. So it was a prefab type of L&T's own technology, a prefab, and they actually they worked for it for 6 months, and they had everything ready. And then in 96 days, 96 flats were in place. And I would like to say that though they are low-cost houses, these houses are actually built as per HIG standards, and the location of these flats is, they just come when the MTHL lands. So we thought at that point of time, let us give an opportunity. The job of the government is to provide opportunity, a level playing field. So for those who are not so lucky, some of them will perhaps get an opportunity. And accordingly, that was given, and now people are staying at. Only one mistake we did, and that mistake was this. When you create records, then you inform the recorders in advance. So we did not inform Limca book or Guinness book or all those people. That was a mistake. We didn't know about it, you know. So कि वो हो जाएगा कि हमें लगा था कि होगा, हम report करेंगे, कोई आएगा, देखेगा, audit करेगा, पर वैसा नहीं था. So it is not in both the things. But yes, India can probably say that it holds the world record. And after that, in fact, all the others responded. And then we put in one slab in one day. And that project also is the largest housing project of any kind in the world at any one point of time. And in fact, Australia and New Zealand, they also decided at some time before that, that they would be doing 1 lakh houses for their people. But they abandoned the project saying that it was far, far ambitious. Whereas Indian companies, so in this case, all the companies are Indian companies, the architect is Indian, the consultant is Indian, all Indian people, they have responded to the challenge. And I think those flats are today there for everybody to see.
Great, thank you. Coming back to your MMRDA administration, you're overseeing currently the most ambitious expansion of metro network attempted in any city, specifically the kind of Mumbai that is. So give us a sense of the progress that has been achieved in the various metro lines, be it 2A, 9, etc.
So there is a total 337 kilometers of metro line, and this will go up. And if we take the metros built in the other parts, so total मिला के 450 किलोमीटर तक के जाएगा. But 337 is what MMRDA is executing, and this is the largest metro project in the world. I think one of the reasons the metro project has started in 2015, much before I have come. MMRDA never thought, you know, it is going to be one of such kind of a challenge, and therefore we took up this project. And line 1, which is a public-private partnership project, that is from Versova to Andheri Ghatkopar line, that line is already commissioned. And so that line is commissioned, and the passenger count of that line is growing at something like 7 to 8% per month. Line 2A and line 7, these are another 2 lines which are commissioned. And the passenger count in these 2 lines is also growing at a compounded rate of 5% per month. So we are getting a very, very good response as far as these 2 lines are concerned. The other lines, their work should be completed in the next 3 years. You know, when I say it is completed, so that means that the rakes will be procured, the electrification will be done, the signaling systems will be in place, the approval of the the approval of the RDSO will be obtained, the CMRS approval will be obtained, the fares will be fixed, and all the regulatory hassles that one has to go when one does the project, all of them will be done. In this period, several lines will be commissioned, you know, as and when they get completed. So the strategy which we have taken now is that you focus on extending the length. Because if I say कि मैं 2B को पूरा बनाऊंगा तो it will take time, but मेरे अगर 3 स्टेशन होते हैं और मैं उसको existing line को extend कर सकता हूँ. So that is the strategy which we have taken, and you'll soon hear about publicly about our plans to unveil more metro stations in the near future. With
MTHL done, so now done and dusted in some sense, I think have the Japanese funding agencies, we probably have been able to gain trust with them. So are they looking to fund the future MMRDA projects that are coming up, which is the Versova V Link, which I think is a fairly high ticket item currently? And how do you see this project shaping up? What is happening on the western side?
So we have had a very good relation with the government of Japan and with JICA. And in fact, MMRDA was the first parastatal to be given the loan directly by JICA. Though it had a state and a central government guarantee, but the loan was disbursed directly to us. So, and we had a very good working relationship with them. And both of us are very eager to take it to the next level. So we have had our discussions regarding the Virar Versova V Link. And JICA has, in fact, we had visited Japan along with the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra State, and JICA had expressed its willingness to fund the entire project. So accordingly, the proposal for JICA funding is now with the government of Maharashtra, and government of Maharashtra is examining various ways in which the project can be done, because one of the ways of doing it, it's a huge project. It's about, if we take it from Versova to Virar, it is something like 65,000 crores. If you take all the connectors, and if you take it up to Palghar, you know, because as things are developing, there is a parallel movement happening, which is with the central government, where MMRDA plays a role. That is a bullet train. And that train, it will stop at Virar and it will have a stop at Palghar, and so those are some areas which will open up in the days to come. So if you extend this up to Palghar, then the project cost goes up to 90,000 crores. So Government of Maharashtra is examining that how the project should be done. Should it be done as a state sector project whereby we execute the whole thing, or should it be done as a public-private partnership project where a private partner is roped in on a toll basis or something like that, or should it be done in a part of it is done by us and part of it is done by that. That is a decision that is to be done. The DPR, etc., that is all ready. So we are now on at that decision point, and once that decision is closed, then we shall be going ahead with that.
MMR today is beyond Mumbai Municipal Corporation limits in that sense of things. And obviously the urban demands in terms of water demand, sewerage demands are also growing. So how does MMR is working towards ensuring that you can meet the water demands for the MMR region? We know that the Surya Dam water pipeline north of MMR is being executed. What are the timelines for it, and how would that project help the city?
I think whenever we have moved outside Mumbai, so water has been the most crucial thing. Like those of you sitting here who live in Navi Mumbai know that in the initial days, tanker se pani aata tha. 20 saal tanker se, for 20 odd years, you got water from tankers. So that is the issue. Now, I think before the Middle Vetarna Dam was commissioned, even Bombay had a problem. So there were two changes which was done. I was in BMC that time. One was the commissioning of the Middle Vetarna project, and secondly was some systemic improvements in the thing, which resulted in 265 million liters of water coming out. So I'll just tell you in general what is happening in MMR. So MMRDA is looking into part of it, and there is another part which is looked after by CITCO, and I'll draw into my experience of that time. So as far as they are concerned, they have booked water in the Patal Ganga. They have also booked water in Hetavne. They have started work of underground tunnels, which will prevent the loss from all that period. They have started audit of Kharghar node and all those places, and also a place whereby Navi Mumbai and Navi Mumbai city, that is the municipal corporation, the other area separated, so that water is properly distributed. As far as the other part is concerned, this part, so we have built now the Surya Dam. So the dam where was constructed a village called Kaudas. A water treatment plant has been constructed, and it's a very interesting project. It has got two underground tunnels, which go below national parks, and the entire thing otherwise is a underground pipeline. And the Surya project is completed up to Vasai Virar, and it is almost completed up to Mira Bhinder. In fact, so as far as Vasai Virar is concerned, so we are supplying 185 million liters of water to them. Now it is for the municipal, so our MMRD is a regional authority, so we don't get into the water supply thing, we don't get inside. So we bring the water at your doorstep, so we construct an elevated service reservoir, and the water will be there. And now it is for the municipal corporation to pull that water, take that water, and run the secondary system and the tertiary system. So as far as Vasai Virar Corporation is concerned, they are regularly drawing something like 90 million liters of water. Yeah. So as far as that municipal corporation is concerned, there's a sea change. Yeah. Right. For earlier, they used to get some 30 odd million liters of water. Now up to 120 million liters is available to them. So it's a absolute sea change, and that can go up. They can draw up to 185 million liters of water. So they are a step ahead. So as far as the Mira Bhinder Municipal Corporation is concerned, we are again following up with the corporation that they should, because that will be 213 million liters that we will be supplying to them, and they have to improve their internal, secondary and tertiary distribution systems, metering and all those things, so that they can draw that water. The work of Mira Bhinder should be completed before monsoon. And after that, that second stage can be also started. The first stage was, dedicated to the nation by the Honorable Prime Minister during his last visit on 12th of this month.
I saw that, I think the Chief Minister's this also, and as well as you had posted some MOUs that were signed at the recent WEF. So what is the future being planned in that perspective? And given that, you are right now in MMRDA has built BKC, and you're also sitting on a huge tracts of land MMRDA in its possession. How do you plan to monetize this? Where do we see the next BKC happening?
Firstly, I must clarify, MMRDA is not sitting on huge tracts of land. I wish we were. MMRDA is just sitting over BKC. And BKC, roughly 35 hectares of land remain to be disposed of. So, if you see, it is though it has not got the designation of the international finance city, but it is the finance headquarter. And 3%, approximately 3% of the country's GDP comes from that little small area of BKC. So, that's the area. We also have certain amount of land at Wadala, but other than that, we do not have land assets. And therefore, the reason MMRDA went to Davos was very, very clear. We did not go to, we signed 5 MOUs, but our basic reasons were, number one, we wanted, technology transfer. So, whatever work we are doing, if you do advanced work, then we want more technology to be here and we want a competition in the Indian market. So, that is one. So, that was the thing, and we signed certain technology transfer agreements there, or rather MOUs there. That is one. Second is that we are doing all these projects, so we want a financial closure. And for that financial closure, the multilateral financial corporations are important corporations, and Davos is a place where everybody is there, and Davos is a place where you can have a peer-to-peer talk. So that was another thing which we were able to do there in a very successful way. And the third thing is that if Mumbai started as a port, and then Mumbai developed by itself, and then when the country became independent, and later on we built BKC and we built so much infrastructure, and now we are building so much infrastructure. But if you want to take Mumbai to the next level, then we need to know what the world is doing. And one of the reasons of going to Davos, this was the first time MMRDA went there, is to find out what's happening all around the world, in the urban development sector, in the IT sector, in the AI sector, in the in various technology sector, and what about the financial sector? Who are the agencies who are looking for coming to India and investing in India? What can be done by us as a local city to facilitate that? So that was our first foray into Davos, and I'm happy to inform you that we signed 5 MOUs. We were able to meet the top engineering firms, CEOs of the top firms, consultants of the top firms, also the chiefs of all the top 5 multilateral banking institutions, which give these lending. So also several top NGOs who operate in various ways, whether it is CSR, whether it is sustainable development, and all those matters. That is the type of thing that we were able to do, and we hope that in the next visit of ours at Davos, we will be able to make a better thing. But I'm happy to tell you now that as far as the metro project is concerned, we are almost achieved the financial closure of that.
In BKC, we are seeing a lot of mega projects that are happening around us. As the bullet train, the Mumbai Metro 3 Line 2, Line 3, India's biggest convention center. I think Jio has opened some great mall over here, also very expensive and a high-end mall. So, how do you see the future of BKC? What do you envision for it?
Well, I would say, as if we take, I would like to answer your question from a different angle. You asked me a question, where is going to be the next BKC? And
that was one question.
So that which I omitted answering in the last phase. And now, how do you say? See, the Mumbai, if it has to retain its position as a leader, then it has to make provision for the poorest of the poor. It has to make provision for the labor class. It has to make provision for the service class. When I say service class, I mean people who work in various institutions, do clerical work or lower level management work. It has to make provision for the top end management. It has to make provision for the super rich. It has to make provision for film, gaming, animation. So we have to actually identify all the sectors that we do have. And after identifying them, government's job is simply to enable. And if you enable, then it is for the market to respond to that enablement. This is the fundamental principle in which I think that we should go ahead. And if this principle is agreed upon, then now where the MTHL lands, so there MMRDA the authority has decided that it would be constructing a new city there. And that is something like 323 square kilometers of area. So that has been approved in the authority. It has been approved, which was chaired by the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, had the Housing Minister of Maharashtra and Chief Secretary of Maharashtra and all other top officials and non-officials of the state. So the authority has approved that. So that is a very big thing, and that is where we will have IT, ITES, gaming, animation, etc. And we will prepare a city, a new city, which will be driven by what is the demand of the market. Another change that we are doing is we are partnering with the Niti Aayog, and we are trying to prepare an economic master plan for Mumbai. When I say Mumbai, it is the entire Mumbai Metropolitan Region. And the Niti Aayog, we had several series of discussions with them. And so they are preparing that document for us, in which they also have the same thought which I just mentioned, that it should be like that. We are also developing 10 growth centers at various parts of the Mumbai Metropolitan Region. These growth centers, some would focus on logistics, some would focus on industry, some would focus on residential plus commercial, etc., depending on the various locations at various points of place of time. We are thinking of 10 local growth centers, which are small areas like 10 square kilometers, 15 square kilometers, you know. So this way, and we are also, see, we are a regional development planning authority for a huge area, but you can't do that huge area at one go. So where the MTHL lands, there we would be a new town development authority, which essentially means that you acquire the land and you build the city. Like Citco has built New Bombay, that is one way. In another places, there you become special planning authorities. In certain places, you put your thing entirely on government land, so that you don't have to acquire the land and you can make use of the resource that you already have. So we have prepared a big plan on that, and I don't think we should call it the next BKC, but yes, that is where the future is going to be.
You know, before Yogini asks you the next question, आजकल हमारे देश में प्रमोट कर रहे हैं वर्क कल्चर, क्या वॉक टू वर्क कल्चर. In BKC, we don't want to walk, but we are forced to walk because of the connectivity, loss of connectivity. The connectivity, no one talks about connecting to either of the major stations. MMRDA had earlier also planned to have some cycle track. There were other things that were done. There used to be buses. Anything to, you know, improve the life of the service class? This question came because I spoke about service class, and many service class people who come here, for them it is a nightmare to come to BKC in the morning. So business uske liye.
Yeah, I am so happy that you are asking me this question, because this was the first thing that I thought of when I came to MMRDA. I said, "Ye BKC mein ghusna bada mushkil hai. It's bloody difficult to, sorry, I used it's very difficult to get in." So we have now started looking into that. How do you, make BKC easy to commute? Again, when you commute, first is walkers and then others. So there is a cycle track, and I will not comment on the cycle track because the jury is very much out on that. Okay, but next to that, BKC was built as a walk-to-work thing. It was a very futuristic thing if you go back. But when 26/11 happened, then people started asking for compound walls. And MMRDA started approving compound walls. And because of the compound wall, you see, in BKC, it's like, say, what is that place in London where the Central Financial District, tall building, or Pudong, for instance, in there. So you walk through. There is a building A, there is building 3, you walk through. The buildings have security inside. For vehicles parking, you can make a provision, but that doesn't mean you stop pedestrians. So now we have taken a call that no more compound walls. We retain something called as architectural, control, and so no more compound walls are to be allowed in BKC. That is one. Secondly, this is a very, very recent decision that we have taken. Secondly, we will be asking everybody else, to relook into those who have built compound walls. Because it is your employees who are coming. So you please relook into the need of these compound walls. ये पुराने ज़माने में जब था कि कुछ पता नहीं चलता था, तब compound wall का अर्थ था. Today, satellite imagery, I can see very well what's happening right inside this room. So for this whole security environment has changed. So there is a need to, relook that compound wall thing, So that is another thing that we have done. Third is that we are going to relook the way the footpaths are structured, and for that we have already started the work. Fourth is that the auto rickshaws, for instance, and the taxis, they do not have a place to park. There is a great need, so we will coordinate with the police. But before that, we have some space in the Geo World Center, so we will provide for a taxi stand there. We'll provide a free taxi stand, and we'll provide for so MMRD auctions it off and gets some money out of it, but I think we'll forgo that revenue. And we'll provide for a free taxi stand there, and we'll provide for free auto stand there. So that will be inside, it will not be on the street. And then we'll request the traffic police that you please declare these particular areas as no parking zones, which makes, you know, commuting further. Secondly, we'll be broadening certain roads, building certain bridges. That is a long-term type of things. However, as far as there is another thing that's happening, so there is a bullet train, and then there is this metro, which is there in BKC. And in these places, we are encouraging establishments to come to us and ask for a direct connect into the metro station. So wherever possible, we are providing, and we have already given several sanctions like that. We are providing people so that after you get down, there is an FOB and you enter into your building or your shopping mall or these kind of things directly. So as that happens, then, you know, the number of people who are there on the streets is less. Walkability becomes a good thing, and that is how it is internationally, where people are walking, but you don't see many people on the streets.
I know you've been, I think you got posted in Mumbai in 2014 at Municipal Corporation first, and since then you've been involved in pushing some great projects, starting with the Mumbai Coastal Road, through the DPR stages, and then bringing up to the tendering stage. Then at CIDCO, in the meanwhile you were at Health. In all of these, a span of decade, what has changed? What do you think have been the learnings from the administration perspective, especially for these big projects that different administrative aspects are being taken on by MMR or MMRDA or BMC? And also, how do you think the region, the MMR region, will look in 20 years, you know, in terms of infrastructure, physical, social, and economic?
So the first question, what has changed? So I would say that crucially, you know, infrastructure was a very crucial thing for all of us. But I think what has changed in the entire thinking that we are having in the administration is that rather than searching for, well, this is a proposal and how it cannot be done, now we are solution oriented, or rather solution focused on how that thing can be done. So I think that's the biggest thing. And because of that, the whole, the whole approach has changed. For instance, the Mumbai Coastal Road, I was involved in the Mumbai sewage treatment plant of the STPs, also the designing, etc. Tendering had happened at my time. So these things were going on for a long time, and it required certain, that decision ki ye karna hai. And that was, I think, the biggest thing. There was a huge political will that these projects have to be done. Second was, there was a huge administrative will that these things have to be done. So these were two very major things. But the third thing is very interesting. The third thing is this. I'll just draw back on my experience of the coastal road. So when I got the coastal road, so there was a DPR which was made by a consultant, and people were saying all sorts of things about it, ki aisa hai, waisa hai, flooding ho jayega, pani ke niche aisa chala jayega. So we had a discussion with the then municipal commissioner, and I had told him, ki sir, we are a city of consultants. सारे बड़े फर्म्स के टॉप लीडरशिप यहाँ पर बैठता है, एंड दे आर ऑल सिटीजन्स, और ये खुद ही कुछ कहना चाहते हैं, तो व्हाई डोंट वी रिलीज दिस डीपीआर आउट इन द पब्लिक? ये डीपीआर को सीक्रेट क्यों रखना है? इसमें सीक्रेट क्या है? यहाँ पे ठोमरे बैठे हुए हैं. ही वाज एसोसिएटेड विद द कोस्टल रोड फ्रॉम देन टिल नाउ, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, एंड ही इज वन ऑफ दोस लकी चैप्स, हु oversee the project from beginning to end. So that DPR was published in the open, and after that, accepting fishermen, there were no objections. Fishermen's objections were limited. कि हमारा boat जो है वो cross होना चाहिए. That was a limited thing. And in that time, they had all, in fact, signed the agreement. What should be the distance and all those things, So there is a lot of desire of the people also that these things should happen. I must really salute the citizens of Mumbai who have been tolerating us for a long time. अभी देखिए 8-10 साल हो गए, काम चल रहा है, नया काम चल रहा है, फिर भी people are pushing us कि ये आप करिए. They are not saying कि ये काम हुआ नहीं है, which is, this is a huge change in the attitude. I think as a nation, as Mumbai, as everybody wants कि अभी it's time for us to do it, and therefore we have taken a huge leap of faith. When money is not there, then we have decided to borrow. We have done those calculations ki what will be the increase in the economy, what will be the tax revenue growth, how do we pay it back. These were risks which were unimaginable few years back, So that is the biggest change that we have seen, yes.
Because we are towards the end, MMRDA also had एक बहुत साल पहले मुझे याद है तानाजी मालुसरे सिटी करके करजत में MMRDA had said we will give you additional FSI constructed, but that was only one project and that failed. Did MMRDA ever think of, because you're in MMR का सबसे बड़ा आज डिमांड अगर कुछ है तो वो हाउसिंग है, and you have handled Sitco well, you had records over there, so is MMRDA thinking on those lines of anything? I know there are other agencies, but MMRDA once ventured into it. Is there anything on the housing part over there? या फिर सिर्फ FSI ही देंगे सर?
So rental housing MMRDA का idea था, 2008 का scheme है. There's a MMRDA idea, and well, it has worked pretty well. You know, I mean, you've got lots of PAP houses, and they have been used to resettle and rehabilitate people. So I think that goes in favor of MMRDA. But yes, MMRDA has generally been out of housing. Now we are making a foray in two things. First is, as I said, we are developing new cities. Earlier, only Sitco was building cities, but Sitco has a jurisdictional issue, so they have a jurisdiction, and they work across the state. So now time has come for all agencies to work together. Time has come for, say, we have large agencies in this state. We have got BMC, we have got MMRDA, we have got MADA, we have got Sitco, we have got even the SRA gives permissions, etc. So we have got PWD, we have so many agencies. Time has come for everybody to work together. And so therefore, we are building this new city, which I mentioned. We are building all these new towns in small ways across. So this process has just started. They have started after I have joined MMRDA. And it will take its time in fruition. We must realize that Navi Mumbai was conceived in 1970. And it was handed over to the corporation in 1994. But even now, Sitco works there. So it takes time. And we do not want to create a concrete jungle. So that's one. Second is, however, for the housing issue, MMRDA has the powers of an SRA. And for the first time, we have decided that we will, enter into SRA. We have decided to take over a slum at Ghatkopar. And we have already have advanced discussions with the SRA. Now the agreement has been forwarded to them for their examination and approval of their authority. Our authority has already given its approval, and very soon we'll be making our foray into that. Yes.
Thank you for the wonderful session and so much of information. I think it gives this to us that Bombay would look beautiful and connected in the next 10 to 15 years. With that, I open the floor for a few questions. Oh, like lots of hands.
Wow. we will have 8 seconds. We can't. I know so many people want to ask questions, but because of paucity of time, I will give only 2. Sorry. So from L&T, hey, mic hai udhar.
Mahendra Kapadia from L&T. I must say that we are all impressed with the infrastructure change which is happening in Bombay, and we are all enjoying the transport and much easier way of moving around. So things are going to be much better, I'm sure. And I know as an engineer what all goes inside. So it's a huge efforts. I think we must applaud all the efforts of MMRDA, BMC and everyone. One point which we are talking of high-rise that we are all seeing all over Bombay, because of course the road space is going to be as it is. There is not much change one can expect. But what we also see is lots of sewage, or what do you say, the waste, vehicles moving, the solid waste, wet waste. So I think as a very intelligent city that we all are proud of this city, there must be a way to manage the wet waste, especially the wet waste, where within the buildings themselves we can allow. This is one. And I know solar may not be so easy, but something we got to do about managing the wet waste and creating maybe fertilizer or whatever as a part of the municipal laws or system.
Okay.
I hope it is within your...
No. So I can talk about it and please have a seat. So waste is an important issue, and but BMC and its jurisdiction it's an old city, so we can't have and they are trying. So for instance, they have the Mulund dumping ground is getting closed. This Thomre knows that we did it that time, and it is getting closed now. Devnar mein kaam shuru kiya, etc. So that's part. But other than that, outside the city, where we are making these new cities, and this is where we can make an intervention right at the beginning. So we have now signed a technology sharing agreement with the government of Netherlands. So they'll be providing us that technology free. So that is one thing which we have done. And the issues of segregation of waste, generating the maximum calorific value, etc. Those are the issues which we will take into consideration as we develop the newer parts of our city. Having said that, I always tell everybody who sits in the waste conferences, please understand, the Western world talks about segregation because they are extremely wasteful. वहाँ पे तो न्यूज़पेपर डस्टबिन में डाल देते हैं, पर यहाँ पे we have a
collectors, yes.
We have a कबाड़ी वाला, and the कबाड़ी वाला comes to my house, भाई बॉटल ले लेता है, कागज ले लेता है, कचरा ले लेता है. देवनार में रैक पिकर्स की जो इकोनॉमी है उसमें एक स्टडी हुई है, that is about 250 crores. They are recycling everything. So because of this, Indian waste will actually have no plastic when it goes there, and that is something which is going to create the issue of calorific value, and therefore that gap in the waste. And I think many of our issues are therefore issues of technology and issues of finance, and these are two issues which will be actually our main challenges as we build up the new city. And the user has to pay.
The wet waste I was thinking, the vegetable and all of that, because that can possibly process locally within the buildings.
Yes, that can probably process, but to be very honest to you, 3,300 calorie का तो minimum आना चाहिए ना, वो आता नहीं है wet waste से, plastic लगती है. So that is the key issue. Plastic चाहिए. If you don't have plastics, what you get in, say, आप कहीं भी देख लीजिए, अंबरनाथ देख लीजिए, देवनार देखिए, whichever place you want to go, there is nothing. It's only C&D, essentially what you get in those places. Everything else is extracted out. And it's very easy to say कि रैक पिकर को मत रखिए, but then उनका भी एक परिवार है, they also have an economy, so we have to consider all those things.
Okay. मैंने आंखों में बहुत से लोगों को कमिट कर दिया था, but क्या करें, समय के पाबंदी है सर, and I apologize on behalf of everyone because we will have to end this now.